What is up, RAVER fam? Welcome to another episode of the RAVER podcast with your host, Tyler Hardy. And as always, I just wanted to take a moment to express my overwhelming love and gratitude for each and every single one of you guys who tune in on a daily and weekly basis to talk about all things RAVER with the main intention of assisting you in becoming the most self-actualized and self-loved version of yourself that you can possibly be. So then that way you can share your gift with the world, because right now the world needs it more now than ever. So hopping into today's episode, I wanted to talk about specifically the importance of giving yourself the time to slow down when it is needed. And I'll explain, the importance of this and kind of like how it's changed and altered the course of my life. As being someone who like wouldn't slow down, had what I would say is like classified as like a, high functioning anxiety, essentially, always on the go, always doing something, having to keep myself stimulated, having to keep myself on the go. So then that way I wouldn't be alone with my thoughts or be, slowing down to analyze things. And I think that was due to a number of different things, which we'll talk about later in the episode. But we'll also talk about, how I take time when I need it now in the business or in my personal life or with anything that I'm doing, and how much more of a better result that's getting me. Because it's not always about moving quickly. It's not always about speed. It's about moving correctly and moving in a way that is congruent with your highest good and in alignment with creation and the universe for what it's wanting for you. And when you do that, that's when you're able to really start manifesting at a high level very quickly and of a high quality consistently. So going back to kind of give you like a framework of, what I was like before, I do believe that due to like different traumas and experiences in my life, it caused me to, check out and disassociate. But to not have to work through those things, what I would do is I would keep myself incredibly busy. I would keep myself incredibly occupied with people, places, and things that took my mind off of those things. And, for a while, you can say it's like a healthy modality, right? To keep yourself busy. And we all know somebody who's like super, super busy all the time, go, 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 and they never stop. And oftentimes, like, it is productive. You are getting a lot of things done, but I think you need to look at the mechanism of why they're doing that. Because I think a lot of people, are like overachievers or work super hard because they needed to work for love when they were younger. They needed to work, and achieve to get any sort of validation when they were younger, and that's playing out in their adult life now. And so it's really important to slow down and understand why it is that you're doing everything that you're doing, so then that way you can make sure you're doing it for healthy reasons. And so kind of going back, like, I would always keep myself super busy. I'd always keep myself super, tied into whatever it is I was doing on a daily basis. Go, go, go. Working a bunch. Not really taking the time to like give myself that time to look at things in my life. And I've really spent a lot of time over the past couple of years reflecting on everything that my life has been up until this point, things I'm satisfied with, things I'm not satisfied with, things that I know I could have been better about, things I'm doing great, really spending that time. And it seems like you're slowing down, but in reality, you're speeding up because you're able to start focusing and channeling in a lot of energy towards what it is that actually matters to you. Because I think that the big problem that most people are facing in this world is their consciousness and attention is fragmented and scattered into 50 different things. And that's just the nature of the world that we live in. And it's important that, when you slow down, to know that, you're going to start having things fall away. You're going to start having things that are not congruent with what you want start to fade away. And it creates a lot of time and space for the things that do matter. And so, before it was just go, 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 fill my schedule up, avoid traumas, avoid pain. If I accomplish more, then people will see me and recognize me more. If I do this, then I'll receive love or attention or recognition or whatever it is that you're looking for. That's the person that I used to be. That's the person that was seeking out external validation, and seeking a sense of worthiness by accomplishing and doing things, because I thought that if I accomplished more and I had success, that people would care more, or people would see me for what I am. And I realized that you don't have to do that. You're inherently successful just by the way that you are, the way that you show up, the way that you treat others, the way that you treat yourself, the way that you, devote yourself, and the way that you commit yourself to what's important to you in your life. There's great levels of success to be found just in those qualities and attributes, aside from anything that's actually accomplished. And so, that was something that was a predominant thing for years. And I still work hard and I still do all the things that I know that I need to do, but it's the reasoning why I'm doing it. I'm not afraid to slow down when I know that I need to, or something throws me off kilter and throws me out of my flow and equilibrium. Instead of me, like before, I would just like push, and push. Like, oh, something didn't work out, try harder. And if or if, hey, someone threw you off, or you had something, an argument or something that puts you into, fight or flight, just pushing through that and not like tending to your needs and tending to what it is that your body is telling you. And I think that that's been a huge shift. And this is why I'm talking about it on this episode, is because it's important to know that, there's a good chance that just because you're being productive doesn't mean that you're not doing it for potentially an unhealthy reason. And you might be doing it for a healthy reason. If you are, like, don't listen to what I'm saying, like continue the course, but just evaluate that, is what I'm getting at, is like really audit yourself of like, why do I work hard? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I have this, sense of needing to accomplish? And I'll explain why this is so much healthier the way that I view it now, in the paradigm that I reside in now, is because I realize that I'm whole and complete regardless of what I do and who I do it with and why I do it. So if when RAVER succeeds and continues to grow into this company that I want it to grow into, I'm no more or less of a person than I am who's speaking to you right now. And that wholeness and that completeness does a lot of things for you. First off, from a magnetic standpoint and a law of attraction standpoint, is it draws the things that you want in closer to you. Because when we have needy energy, when we acknowledge that there's a separation between us and what we want, it creates lack. And then, we start to create experiences and beliefs and things that actually validate that lack. And so I've realized over these, past couple of years that like, I'm not separate from what it is that I desire, because I am the whole experience. Through totality, you realize that you are everything, and that infinite potential is always at your fingertips when you realize and play in a field of unlimitedness. Because I played in such a state of limitedness for such a long time, and it kept me confined in a lot of ways and didn't allow me to fully express who I was and be the person that I know that I'm capable of being. And I suspect that that's happened to you at some point in your life, because we've come up in a world where people love to limit others because they've limited themselves, and they love to downplay other people's potential because they don't see that same potential for themselves in themselves, and they don't carry that out. So they try to, level the playing field and make you feel the way that they feel. And so for a long time, I lived in confinement of potential, and it was like a ceiling. It's kind of like the story of like the tick or the flea, excuse me. A flea can jump like incredibly high for how small it is, but if you put a lid on it, then if you put it in a box in it with a lid, it'll keep jumping, keep hitting that box lid, and then eventually you can take the box lid off, and it only jump as high as the box lid because it knows it's going to hit it, even when the box lid's not there. And that's kind of like how our potential works. If we don't believe that we can hit a higher potential, and we believe that there's a ceiling, then it's really unlikely that we're going to ever, get outside of what it is that we previously have known. And so it's important to slow down and evaluate, because when you really start getting to those levels where you're wanting to create more and more for yourself at a higher level and a higher capacity, you need to be able to channel all of your energy inward towards those things and have, persistence and focus towards what it is that you desire for yourself. So then that way the things that aren't important become irrelevant and they fade away. And then that way you can step into, really giving all of yourself into something that's actually, noteworthy and would benefit, not only your life, but the lives of others. And so the big thing is like the redirect and the shift here is, knowing that you're whole, knowing that you're complete irregardless of, circumstance, I think is a big thing and a big trauma for a lot of people to work through. Because I see a lot of people who live in lack and unworthiness and lower vibrational frequency because we think that we have to do things in order to be loved or receive love. And that's conditional, and that's not, proper ways of living. It's not a proper healthy way of living. And so knowing that you're whole and complete is really crucial in regards to being able to actualize your full potential. And so another big thing too is like just slowing down, because like you realize from a physiological standpoint what it's doing to your body to be burning it burning the candle at both ends. When you think about it, it's like most people wake up and they get super jacked up on stimulants and they go to the job that they hate and force themselves through that. And then they have the boss that they don't like. And then they go home and their wife's upset at them or their husband's upset, or there's just, turmoil or conflict because they're not able to be as present and happy, as they could be. And it's diminishing their relationship. It's diminishing their, ability to be, effective parents. It's diminishing their ability to be, good to thy fellow neighbor. It's diminishing their ability to be, fully present for themselves and others. And, very few times are we able to actually give ourselves the time and space to, do those things. And I always was one of those people who thought, like, if I stopped, then I was falling behind or I was making a mistake. And if I worked harder, then I would get more of what I wanted. And as a result of that, then I'm going to, achieve this level of myself that I can finally be satisfied and happy with. And to actually reach those levels, to get to that place where you are satisfied and really happy with yourself, is you become those things before they actually physically manifest themselves. And you become satisfied with who you are and the work that you've done and the journey that you've gone on to get to this point, to even be listening to this podcast. Like, think about how much you've done to even get to this point, like how much you have worked through, how much adversity and trials you have overcome. And that's the beauty of, what it is that we're capable of doing. And especially when we take the time to slow down and self-reflect. And so I encourage you, really, really encourage you to actually take the time to sit with yourself, block off some time, meditate, give yourself as much time and space as you needed because, I saw this sign at Electric Forest, perfect example. It's like, nature's never in a hurry, but everything always gets done. And we put ourselves in a hurry over things. And I think it causes us a lot of challenge and struggle because we try to force things to happen as opposed to letting them flow and being in, congruency with creation and nature and working with this thing that created us as opposed to working against it. And I think that's why we have so many problems on this planet, as we try to force things to be a certain way, and it can cause issues. And I can speak on that firsthand. Like, that was part of like who I used to be, is like, oh, if that didn't work out, like, oh, someone didn't like me, oh, I'm just going to try harder, because I'm seeking validation outside of myself, which makes you, one, less magnetic towards the things that you actually do desire, repels the things that you want. But also on top of that, it leads to a lot of, reaffirmation that you're not good enough and that, you're not getting, that you need to work harder, be more to receive any sort of love. And it really can damage your, entire existence in so many ways. And so it's really important to, take that time, like I talked about, take that moment to spend time with yourself, to reflect. That's why meditation is so crucial for me, because it allows me to see the inner workings of what I'm dealing with and experiencing, so then that way I can be more effective and on a day-to-day basis. And in order to slow down and allow myself to slow down and rest, it's allowed my body to heal, it's allowed my mind to heal, it's allowed me to see better solutions for RAVER, it's allowed me to see other people's point of view and have more quality in my relationships, because I'm actually being more present and in the moment with the people that matter to me. And so many things are going to change for you when you change that paradigm of honoring yourself, honoring your body, honoring your spirit and your mind, when it's important for you to know that you need to slow down and reflect and problem solve at your highest faculties possible. Because when you slow down, when you're calm, when you're present, when you're in the moment, it puts you in a place where you're really able to get the most out of, potential scenarios, and you're able to find solutions that you wouldn't necessarily be able to find if you just rush into them and try to solve them super quickly with a limited perspective and mindset. So that's really what I'm trying to help you here is expansion of your higher faculties and your gifts and your abilities that lay latent inside of you, that it's your job to discover through doing the healing work and processing whatever it is that you decide to come here for, whatever you decide to have this earth experience for. And so it's really big to know that that slowing down will speed you up. Slowing down and having quality moments and quality reflection time and doing those things that you need to do are going to put you in a place where you're light years ahead of others, and it doesn't seem like you're really doing much more work. Oftentimes you might even be doing less work because you're doing it more effectively. It's about the effectiveness of what you're doing and where you're channeling your energy and your time and your commitments, in your life. And that's what's going to get you where you want to go. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode, guys. Just make sure that if anything felt true to you and it resonates for you, that you integrate it into your day-to-day life, just because integration is so important in regards to actually making lasting change in your life. If you don't integrate what it is that you're hearing and bringing in, then the likelihood of you actually making that lasting change is so much lower. So again, slow down, grab a piece or two of information from these podcasts that actually resonate for you and integrate those things, because I will tell you that the person who slows down and puts quality into their integrations is going to make leaps and bounds over the person who's just wanting to consume and consume and consume and go and go and go and not actually integrate what it is that they're learning. So without further ado, guys, be sure to check us out at www.drinkraveraid.com. And as always, I'm Tyler Hardy. It's super great to spend time with you today. And as always, I hope you guys have an amazing day. We'll talk soon. Peace.